Ho ho ho!
And happy 2 weeks until Christmas! Today I thought I'd get into the holiday spirit and dabble a little bit in the wonderful genre of Christmas movies. One of my absolute favorites is the 1954 classic, White Christmas. The story follows two men, Bob Wallace and Phil Davis, who are soldiers during World War II. They end up working together as singing and dancing partners back in the US, and end up having a very famous and successful touring show. But everything changes when they run into the Haynes sisters, Betty and Judy. After a very strange series of events, all four end up in a strangely green Vermont in December. They happen to be staying at an inn that is owned by Bob and Phil's old general, Tom Waverly. Tom leads a very quiet life, and he feels really forgotten and unrespected, especially after all he did in the war. So Bob, Phil, Betty, and Judy begin to plan how to best demonstrate their appreciation for him. The cast is fantastic. You've got Bing Crosby, who has one of the most amazing voices the world has ever seen. Danny Kaye, who is just plain hilarious.
I love him!
And then Rosemary Clooney and Vera Ellen. It's a musical, but if you're one of those people who get really frustrated and annoyed by characters in movies that suddenly break into song and dance randomly, you'll still probably like White Christmas. Most of the musical numbers are part of the many theatrical performances that are part of the plot of the movie and therefore make sense in their context. That said, there are a couple of numbers that are quite drawn out and tedious, such as one very drawn out dance scene. And there are a couple of very elaborate songs that are more confusing than entertaining. Apparently those type of performances were very popular in the 50s, so filmmakers just included them in their movies even though they didn't advance the plot at all. It's like that crazy dance number in Singing in the Rain.
You know the one I'm talking about.
But there are some really great numbers. I mean, we're talking Irving Berlin's music with Bing Crosby's voice. You can't really go wrong. And Danny Kaye is hilarious.
Have I mentioned that?
What's really funny is that he wasn't originally cast in the part. First it was Fred Astaire, then they cast Donald O'Connor.
Speaking of Singing in the Rain.
And then they cast Danny Kaye. You know, I think it'd be really great if you were sitting around thinking, who should I cast in my movie? I've got Fred Astaire, Donald O'Connor, or Danny Kaye. Aw, Fred Astaire and Donald O'Connor can't do it. I guess I'll just have to settle for Danny Kaye. Anyway, you're going to need some more suspension of disbelief while watching White Christmas, because many of the sets are clearly just painted backgrounds. But you shouldn't let that affect the story for you. The two love stories with Bob and Betty and Phil and Judy are very cute and entertaining, and have a couple of interesting twists as well. For a movie with Christmas in the title, it's not very Christmassy. The only real Christmassy scenes are a very touching World War II Christmas Eve scene at the very beginning of the film, and the very last scene, which, believe it or not, features the song White Christmas. What's interesting is this was the highest grossing film in 1954. People had taste back then. This movie wouldn't even be made now, let alone make the list of the top 10 highest grossing films of 2011. White Christmas is funny and it's got a lot of heart. You end up caring quite a bit about the characters, even though there's no intense drama or extreme hardship. You can just sit back and enjoy a great movie. On a completely different note, there's a movie that came out earlier this year and it's beginning to make its way to the United States. It's called A Separation. It's Iranian and follows the story of a wife who decides to leave her husband. It looks like a very interesting film about values in society as well as personal morals and relationships. Well, that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like Toast Wallet on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and have a fantastic day. Hasta la vista!